Hi everybody, welcome back to Right to the Top. I'm Adam. In today's video, we're going to do another vocab building session, and I'm going to give you 5 precision verbs that you can use in your writing or even in your speaking situations. Before I start, of course, let me just remind you, please subscribe to my channel, and you can visit my website as well and find out more about vocab building there as well with my words of the day. I'll talk about that in a moment. So today, I'm going to give you 5 verbs in the context of the media. Now, the reason I put these into a particular context is that I believe it is easier to remember words when you connect them to a certain idea, a certain situation. So today's words are going to be about the media because that's where you'll see these words used quite regularly. Okay? Now, the 5 verbs are regurgitate, curate, disseminate, articulate, and spin. The ATE endings, the ATE suffix, this is just coincidental. I didn't do this on purpose. But again, good to know some suffixes. ATE is a very common verb suffix that you can add to nouns or adjectives and make them into verbs. So now, what does it mean to regurgitate? So the technical definition of regurgitate is to bring back up, especially when we're talking about food. So some animals, like birds, for example, they take in some food, they chew it, they make it soft, they bring it back up, they regurgitate it and give it to their little baby birds, right? People do this as well, except we do it with ideas, with words, right? So we repeat information without actually analyzing it or even thinking deeply about it. We heard it, we repeat it to somebody else. So you see this a lot on, like news channels, especially. But a couple of sample sentences. In some societies, education is merely an exercise in memorization, wherein the students absorb information and then regurgitate it on an exam without comprehending its significance or usability. Another example: if one pays close attention to what talk show hosts say, it quickly becomes evident that they simply regurgitate their preferred party's talking points without offering any analysis or opposition. So this is especially like political talk shows. You hear these people just saying all these things that everybody in that side of the political, spectrum repeats and repeats and repeats. So it gets into the public's attention. So again, who uses this word a lot? Who does this action a lot? Students do it. Political pundits do it. People who talk about politics. Okay, so that's one. Next word, to curate. To curate means to collect content, right? Whatever the content may be, go through it or sift through it, looking for the best or the perfect examples that you're looking for, and then exhibiting that collection to an audience, whoever that audience may be. Okay, so who does this? Art directors. When you go to an art gallery or an exhibition, you're not seeing all the works of all the artists. You're seeing particularly chosen pieces that best reflect that artist's abilities or the different artists like related to a particular theme or topic, etc. So art directors do it. Media audiences who want to give their audiences the highlights of the day's news without bombarding them, without just throwing all the news, all the information at them. They pick and choose for them so that they can just absorb some of that information that they think, or that the media outlets think is the most important. So the gallery's art director was praised for curating an exhibition that was deemed the most representative of the city's contemporary artists. He chose ones that showed off the city's artists. Most news websites these days hardly engage in journalism. They simply scour the media landscape and curate those headlines they think will attract the greatest number of clicks. So they don't care what information you get. They care about what information you'll click on. And that's how they curate their headlines. That's how they collect and publish their headlines, okay? I know there's going to be some other very good words in these sentences. Look them up and, build your vocabulary that way. Okay, next, disseminate. I know that a lot of people who are studying for like tests or who are trying to use very fancy wording in their writing probably know this word. It's pretty common there, but I think a lot of times it's not used correctly. To disseminate is to spread widely. Like for example, when you're like a farmer, or for example, wants to sow seeds, he takes the seeds and he throws them, he disseminates them, he throws them widely so they cover as much ground as possible. That's where the disseminate comes from. Except when we disseminate, we do this with information or ideas. So like in media, they broadcast, they disseminate their information this way. Even organizations such as the WHO, World Health Organization, now use social media to quickly disseminate urgent health information to as many people around the world as possible, to spread the urgent information. The right-wing news outlet has been accused of disseminating politically motivated disinformation to help its allies in parliament. So the media is helping this political group by disseminating disinformation, spreading incorrect information. So again, who does this? Who disseminates? Politicians do this, political parties. For example, for propaganda and other reasons like that. Medical services like the WHO, they want to make sure that diseases don't spread, so they disseminate public health warnings. Government agencies, okay? Everybody especially uses media outlets and social media as a tool to do this. Okay, good word to know. Let's move on. Okay, to articulate. So articulate can also be an adjective, means very clearly expressive, can pronounce well, can speak clearly. To articulate is to do that, okay? To express something clearly and very coherently, so that's easy to absorb. It can be done in speech or in writing. We often use it in writing in terms of pronunciation. We use it in speech in terms of pronunciation. We use it in writing in terms of clarity and organization of ideas, okay? So able to use language effectively to disseminate ideas, as we mentioned. So who does this? Teachers, politicians, media pundits and anchors, etc., who have to communicate a message to a larger audience or to any audience. The professor was especially popular among first-year students thanks to his uncanny ability to articulate complex theories in a way that they could all understand. Television news anchors are chosen primarily for their ability to articulate serious news items to a wide audience, regardless of the latter's educational levels or intellectual competencies. Okay. Last word. And again, remember, we're still talking about media, so all of these words are somehow especially used when we're talking about media. Spin. Now, spin means the more common word is just, go around in circles. But when we talk about media, we use spin as more of a slang word, right? Although it's so common now that it's not even slang anymore. It's just an everyday word. So to spin something is to shape a particular viewpoint or perspective on a news item or a news story. It's very common in political dialogue and media coverage. So again, who uses this the most? Politicians and anchors, pundits, etc. The politician's press secretary, considered a genius by many, was somehow able to spin the scandal in such a way that it barely had an impact on the campaign. So he was able to twist the story that in such a way that nobody really cared about it. It didn't affect his campaign for office. Most mainstream media outlets are accused of spinning news stories to fit their ideological perspectives and thereby influencing public perceptions, perceptions. So they spin a story in such a way that they can make a certain part of the population think in a certain way, as the way they want them to think, according to their ideology. Okay, so there you go. 5 precision verbs. And now again, what is the function of a precision verb? To help you use fewer words, to make your message shorter, clearer, and more impactful. Now, if you want to learn more vocabulary, I will do this on a regular basis on my website through my Word of the Day feature. I will give you a collection of 5 words every week. I will post them Monday to Friday, and you can see how these words work in terms of definition, synonyms, and sample sentences. If you go to my website, you can also join the newsletter and get an email every Saturday with a quiz about that week's words of the days, plus other vocabulary that I'll pick from my videos on YouTube here, okay? So go there, you'll get more information there. If you have any questions about this video, please ask me below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and come back next time. I'll give you some more vocabulary to help you build your vocabulary base. See you then. Bye-bye.